Oh shit. Here we go again.
17 points in the game.
The Ravens, undoubtedly, I feel like, are the better team, like overall roster wise, like position by position. The closest matchup between them is quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
wide receiver, what you got? I mean, I guess you could probably give wide receiver room to the Bills with Khalil Shakur, Amari Cooper,
Keon Coleman, Dalton Knox.
Yeah.
Or
Kincaid,
and then Dawson Knox.
But
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a push.
That's a push there.
Really?
Running back, you're going to give to Derrick Henry, even though James Cook has had a fantastic year.
Great. He's good, but he's not Derrick Henry level.
He's not Derrick Henry.
And I feel like their offenses, like stylistically, are totally different.
Yeah. This is going to be a fun game to watch, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it doesn't let us down. I hope it's great.
This is a must watch. No, I think it's going to be a close game through and through.
Yeah.
It's just it's a very high pressure moment. You're going to get the best of the best out of every single one of these players, I feel like. And I don't know, man. I feel like if it comes down to a kick, I don't have faith in Justin Tucker anymore, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of Real Conversations with Cozy and Murph. We're back, and we've got divisional round football for you guys. We're going to talk all these matchups coming up this week, recap the Super WildCard weekend, look at the national championship that's coming up, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and hot topic, how to save the NBA. I feel like we've had this discussion multiple times to no avail, and it was brought up again right before the show, and I think it's going to be a nice little topic to close us out today. But how you been, brother? Good check-in this week. You doing all right?
Yep, doing good. Just keeping on, just trucking along.
The train keeps moving.
Yep, living life. You know how it is. I feel like the excitement of the New Year's finally like kind of waned a little bit, and all that, renewed energy that everybody has is kind of fallen to the wayside, and everybody's just trying to fall back into a groove now. So
yeah, it's like everybody's starting to realize it's another year that they have to go and do their job, pay their bills, and the funness of the first of the years. I think the snow kind of ruined it for everybody too, especially out here. It's like, damn, reality.
Yeah, it definitely slowed a lot of things, like everybody down a little bit and bogged everybody down. I mean, it was fun for like the first couple of days, just because we got the kids out and played in the snow a little bit, and that's fun. But and they got an extra week off of school, like all the school districts were out for an extra week on top of like Christmas break. They already get 2 weeks for Christmas break, so they got an extra break there, so that's cool for them. But apparently we're supposed to have another cold front coming through.
That's what I heard.
Either this weekend or next week sometime. It's supposed to get down.
Be the 20th. It's going to be like a huge cold front coming through. And it's like, son of a bitch. We can't even get Kayla's car out of the damn drive, or like out of the garage to go up the driveway.
I'm sure it's awful. And then like all the snow melts and everything's just so muddy and nasty and wet.
Well, it's melted enough for it to turn into an ice skating rink. Literally, like from front step to car. I was getting out of the car at work, and they haven't really shoveled the parking lot there or hit it with the plow. I step out of the car. I've got non-slip shoes on, by the way, for work. The moment I step out of that car, I'm on my back. I hit the ground so fucking hard. It's like one of them ones where you hit the ground so hard and you just fucking laugh because you're like, I know if somebody saw that, I just made their entire day. It's like Looney Tunes looking ass fall.
Right, it's like America's Funniest Home Videos type fall.
This really happened. It's not the same as an adult. When you fall as a kid, you're like, all right, I'll get back up. You hit the ground as an adult, and you're like, fuck me.
Yeah. I hope I didn't break something.
Yeah. Like, did I just break my forearm hitting the ground? All right, we're getting off topic here. Let's rein it back in. We got big football coming up. Did you want to jump recap of the wild card, or did you want to kind of do a little bit of preview first? What are you feeling?
I'll say let's do the recap first, and then we can do the previews of the next round.
Fair. I'm with that. I say for the most part, everything went as expected, aside from maybe, 2 games for the most part. Say the Chargers-Texans game was out of expectations, which is, I guess, disrespectful to CJ Stroud.
I think every team covered except for the Chargers and the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And the Vikings. So, I mean, it's I was surprised that the Texans. I mean, they just exploded. I think they got tired of everybody downplaying them and talking about how they took a step back this season. It's been a rough season for them as far as injury wise. Keeping people healthy. Yeah. And I think it was just one of those moments where they had been hearing for all week, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, that the Chargers are the hot team coming in, and that they were going to. I think they took it as disrespect, especially since the Chargers were favored in this game.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't help that Justin Herbert completely just shit the bed again in the biggest game of his career, one of the biggest games of his career so far. Yeah. And I think it's time to put a cap on the Justin Herbert hype. I mean, he's always a name that gets thrown out there, and we've always given him the benefit of the doubt when we talk about elite quarterbacks, top 10 quarterbacks, and I think it's time we can kind of put a cap on that for now, and because he has not shown anything in the big moments.
Yeah,
as far as I can remember.
I agree with you 100%. I think this idea that carries around Justin Herbert puts him in a stratosphere that, I don't know that he belongs. It's like, did he have a good year? Yes, statistically it wasn't his best year. His best years were when the teams were struggling. So I don't know. They haven't found the correlation between a high level Justin Fields, a high level Justin Herbert, and a high level Chargers team. But it's the first year and the Harbaugh.
First year Harbaugh.
Yeah, so things will come. I mean, them having already a piece in McConkey, who was probably the only Chargers bright spot of that game, and having Herbert there, and then having the coach who's going to build a culture. I think they're in a good spot. I just think this was a letdown game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I think brights were just too light. The lights were just too bright for him in this game, and the Texans came out and give Texans props. CJ Stroud came out and took care of business. Their defense forced 4 turnovers. I mean, it's hard to beat a team that's forcing turnovers at that rate.
Yeah, and that boy Joe Mixon, he's a closer, bro. You give him that ball with a lead, and he's gonna close the game out. I think the Chiefs got. I'm not going to doubt the Chiefs. I'm not going to doubt Patrick Mahomes. But this matchup this next week with the Texans isn't going to be an easy one, I feel like. And they got something. It's going to be a battle.
For sure.
We'll get to that. Lord. The Steelers-Ravens game felt like we all knew exactly what the Steelers were going to come with. Russ Wilson, he did have statistically a good game, but this is similar to where he was with the Denver last year. He's putting up these good numbers, whatever, good touchdowns to interceptions, no interceptions, but the team wasn't winning. Why was that? Well, they weren't good enough.
I mean, at some point, it's great to have to take care of the ball and throw for a lot of yards, but at some point, you got to put points on the board. And 14 points against the Ravens, who is a top 2-3 offense in the league, is not going to cut it.
Nope.
So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like Russ is washed. He's going to be. I feel like his time as a starter is done. He can probably play another 2-3 years as maybe a bridge quarterback for some. I mean, that's basically what he was for the Steelers this year. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to bring him back or not. I know George Pickens is probably done. He wants out. Especially if they keep Russell Wilson, but I don't know. I just think Russ is washed, and at some point they're going to have to draft a quarterback. They can't keep doing this laid over to the next year, laid over to the next year. They're going to have to find the successor for Ben Roethlisberger, because really since Ben Roethlisberger has left, they've been a slightly above 500 team. Well, I mean, they're probably significantly above 500, but I guess I mean above average.
Yeah, where that's what I would put.
They have a good regular season, decent regular season. End up with a winning record, make the playoffs, and then lose first round every year. So I guess it could be worse, but they're just in the middle of the pack, and that's one of the worst things to be in professional sports right now, is because you're not going to get a better draft pick just being a mediocre team. You're either going to have to be really, really good and contend, or you're going to have to be really bad and play for draft picks.
Since Roethlisberger retired, they are 29-23.
So, yeah, slightly above 500.
Yeah, 29-23. Which, in that Division 1 ain't going to cut it, too. I wanted to bring up this picture that I seen of a side-by-side between Mike McCarthy and Mike Tomlin, because I think this is something that needs to be talked about, right? Head coaching seasons, both of them have 18. Playoff appearances, both of them have 12. Division titles, Mike McCarthy has 8. Tomlin has 7. And playoff records, McCarthy is 11-11, and Tomlin is 8-11. Both have 1 title. Why aren't they talked about the same?
Because that's a good question. I feel like you find this a lot in sports. Yeah. Like you have two, it could be player A, player B with basically the same stats, but you're thought of in totally different lights. And I think that has to do a lot with the media. I think the media, because a lot of sports fans who, buy into the narratives don't have the time to sit there and parse out stats and everything else. So they just take what the media is saying, what these talking heads on these morning talk shows are saying and these podcasts, and they just run with it because, they've got others. They're just too busy to be able to do that. So
yeah,
I think that, McCarthy, there's no doubt he's a good coach. I mean, and they both had Hall of Famer quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger with Tomlin and then Aaron Rodgers with. I just think that Tomlin gets a better rap because he stayed at the same team.
Yeah.
And he didn't have he doesn't really. I feel like the way that it ended in Green Bay for McCarthy kind of put a sour taste and kind of dampened his reputation a little bit. Yeah. And that's probably why people don't think of McCarthy in the same light as Mike Tomlin. And I would like to see what their overall records are as a coach too. That probably has a little bit to do with it as well as far as regular season goes, because their postseason resume is basically the same.
Mike McCarthy coaching record 169, 104-2. Mike Tomlin coaching record 183, 107-2.
So yeah, he's got
more wins.
Yeah, he's got a few more wins, and I feel like that is enough to kind of tip the balance in the public opinion as far as reputation goes for some of these coaches.
Yeah, that makes sense. I figured it was a good picture that I seen. But what was it? The Green Bay's championship was more recent than the Pittsburgh's, right? I want to say yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that either off the top of my head. But there was I'm not trying to tear apart Mike Tomlin. I think he does a fantastic job with what seems to be a tough roster year in and year out. I just think there's going to come a time when the Pittsburgh Steelers fans, who are, for their fan base, I may not like them, for their fan base are some of the best in the world, right? They're going to get tired of this just over 500 lose in the first round of the playoff shit.
Yeah, and I think eventually it will come to a head, and there will be a season, whether that's next season or the next, or whenever, there will be a season that comes when they do just have an absolute abysmal year, and that will be the time that Mike Tomlin either steps down or is fired. I think they have more respect for him than to just fire him. Yeah. I think it'll probably be like a mutual parting of ways.
Yeah,
and they'll have to rebuild.
Yeah,
but that's just not the Steeler way. Well, they've had 4 coaches in 50 years or something like that. So it's just not the Steeler way to really get rid of these coaches just for having one bad year or whatever.
Yeah, and that says something. Steelers, but it's crazy franchise. They only have 4 coaches.
Yeah, it is nuts, and I mean, like I said, it could be worse. You could be a Raiders fan or something, or something, a Browns fan. So I wouldn't get too down on myself if I'm Steelers fans. On the flip side, the Ravens, man, they just that duo in the backfield with Lamar and Derrick Henry is just insane.
Gross.
It's just you have to pick your poison because you can't stop both of them. If I like that read option type, play that they have. They give it multiple looks, and it's just really just hard to stop. It's not. You just have to choose one or the other because they're just so dynamic. Yeah. They're just with the ball in their hands.
Yeah. The only thing I could think you could, and I say this sitting on my ass in a chair in a living room, is key Derrick Henry, and just you have to single out Lamar and make him beat you.
Well, that was the formula in the past. Is we just got to bottle him up and make him pass the ball, but he's become such a good passer now that you can't just do that either.
Yeah.
So it's really, like I said, you got to pick your poison. I think really still your best bet is to make him a passer, but he's got weapons now. In the past, he really didn't have any weapons, but Rashad Bateman has really emerged as a guy who can find separation in the secondary. You've got Isaiah Likely, Zay Flowers, which I know he's dealing with a knee injury right now, but when he comes back, he's going to be. He's their top receiver, and then you've got Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. Both tight ends are threats in the pass game. So
that double tight end look too is gross. They run that really well.
Yeah, they're a very dangerous team, and then they have and then you look at their defense, and it is the number 1 defense since they moved Kyle Hamilton back to safety.
Yeah,
and kind of let him play more of a back line. Of the defense.
Yeah.
So their defense is nasty.
Yeah. Hats off to the Ravens. If they're going to do it, this is definitely the year to do it. They've got all the pieces. They've got a matchup this week, and I think the whole world's going to be watching.
Yeah, this is probably the premier game of the week.
Yeah, this is going to be it's going to be a fun one this weekend with the Ravens and Bills. We'll get to that. Let's talk about the Bills. Broncos came out strong, put 7 points up, pretty much right off the
bat. Yeah, had me worried.
I texted you and I was like, Broncos ? They really about to do something? And then I mean,
it was all Bills from then on
it was
out.
all Bills, suffocating. That first quarter, they're up 7-3, and then after that, it's basically 20, 28, 31.
They scored 31
unanswered.
unanswered points.
Yeah.
I mean, the first half was this score is the first half score was a lot closer.
Yeah.
I think it was only like 17-7.
It was 10-7, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the first half was very close. The Broncos were definitely still in this game in the second half, but there's too many drop passes, too many missed opportunities, and for a team that was only their over under was like 5.5 wins this year. For a team that was expectations were that low to make the playoffs, and unfortunately have to go up against one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Rookie quarterback, second year coach with the organization. I mean, you can't complain about the result. I know it would have been nice to win this game, but I mean, fuck.
Yeah, be happy to be here.
Right. And build, because they have a very bright future. They have I think they're one of the youngest teams in the league right now. Yeah. And they have a lot to build on. So nothing to hang your head about if you're a Broncos fan. You just ran into a buzzsaw. Yeah. And Josh Allen is insane to watch. Yeah. I mean, he's just one of those quarterbacks that pop off the screen. Every time you watch him, it's just like I can't believe what I'm watching. I can't believe. I don't know how he just did that. And not to be like a dick rider or anything, but he's in that elite category right now. I think the obvious top 3 quarterbacks right now is Patrick Mahomes, then probably Lamar, and then Josh Allen. I think in that order.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
And then Joe Burrow 4. Yes.
Man, Bills look good too. Like I said, this matchup this coming weekend is going to be one of the ones where you want to make sure you stand and sitting somewhere, you want to sit down and watch it. It's going to be a fun one. The Broncos should hang their head high. I think once the Broncos find themselves a running back instead of doing this 3-headed mid-tier rotation that they've had going on, which feels like for the last 10 years of running backs. Once they find a guy, especially if they go out and draft one of these guys, they're going to be an issue because Bo Nix came on really strong, especially towards the end of the season. He started. You could see the development from the beginning of the season when he was just throwing the ball into the other team, and then down the stretch he turned into a premier guy. Be happy you made this far. 10-7 compared to, like you said, you're supposed to be a 5-win team. So be happy, Broncos fans. Good for you guys. Be happy. Let's talk this Packers-Eagles game. 22-10. I know that relatively says or looks close, but in most senses, just watching the game, the Eagles commanded a lot of this game. Our offense was a little bit slower than what we're used to. We did put up 10 points in the first quarter. We're the worst first quarter scoring team in the league. But their defense put on a good game. Our defense played an even better game. And I just think Jordan Love, like we've said multiple times this year, we just don't know what you're going to get. And it was a stinker for him.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are one of the most complete teams. If you look just as far as roster and composition, you look at the way this roster is made up, and they're strong on every level. And I do think I think it was promising that you did score 10 points in the first quarter, but it seemed like the offense really struggled to make any leeway from the second quarter, third quarter, and then finally in the fourth quarter, it seemed like you guys kind of pulled away a little bit. Plus, if you watch that game, Saquon had a 80-yard touchdown run that he just didn't score. So I mean, it should have been 29-10.
Yeah.
And my parlay would have hit, but of course, fucking Saquon doesn't score right there. I mean, I don't know why.
I don't know either.
I mean, there was nobody within 10 yards of him. He had a clear lane, and he just decides to pull up and slide down. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, yeah, I mean, the Eagles dominated this game. I feel like it was not in question, really. at any point in the game. It just never felt like the Packers were within striking distance, really.
Yeah. It was never a one-score game.
Just the vibe of the game and the way, like you said, Jordan Love was playing is just like they just don't have it tonight, you know.
Yeah. It's tough. And like I said, our defense really showed up knowing that Hurts hadn't played. He barely is through concussion protocol. He hadn't played in a couple weeks. Kind of, got to get his game feel back, you know what I'm saying? So this was good for the defense and the run game and everything to step back up. And I think moving forward, we got a tough matchup this week with the Rams. And it's probably, if I was scared of anybody, I'm the most scared of the Rams at the moment. But we'll speak on that. Let's talk Commanders.
Well, I was going to say, they got nothing to lose right now.
Literally, the Rams scared.
I mean, literally, their home is destroyed. They got nothing to lose.
I'm
maybe
terrified.
That's a little insensitive, but
is it insensitive or is it fact? You know what I'm saying? Like it's the reality of it. I mean, the Rams are out here homeless balling. They're playing in other team stadiums for a home playoff game. I mean, they got nothing to lose. I'm terrified of the Rams. Commanders, Buccaneers. This game was an absolute banger.
Yes.
And, to bring up something that you said, that I think it was you that said it, but I don't know, the fumble when the Buccaneers got that fourth down stop and they get the ball back and the turnaround headed back down the field. Baker turns around, is basically what was a wide receiver.
It was like a jet sweep or something.
Yeah,
he missed the handoff or it was like a jet sweep fake, and he was trying to give it to the running back, and it just felt like kind of got jostled out of his hands.
I felt so bad for Baker, but it's like that's football, dude.
I mean, I called this game, dude. I knew the Commanders were going to win this game. Just something about Jaden Daniels. I've watched the Buccaneers, a lot of Buccaneers games this year because they were neck and neck with Atlanta, pretty much the whole year. And somehow Atlanta beat them twice. And so it's like, I watched a lot of Commanders games because they had some primetime games and they also played Atlanta too. So I've got to watch both teams quite a bit this year. And I just felt like the Commanders were the better team. Dan Quinn, I feel like, is the better coach. Todd Bowles is just, I don't even know how he still has a job right now. I mean, I know they've won the NFC South like 4 years in a row, but that's really not saying that much.
He's getting carried by his players.
Yeah, they don't really have that. I mean, and when it comes down to like clock management and crucial decisions, I just feel like Todd Bowles ain't the answer. And I know a few Tampa Bay fans, and they seem to be increasingly frustrated with how the team is being ran from a coaching standpoint. So, like I said, Dan Quinn, I'll give him the coaching edge. Jaden Daniels, best. I feel like he's rookie of the year, in my opinion. I know Bo Nix had a really good year as well. But I mean, I just feel like they had. For the vibes before that game, I was like, man, Commanders. I took Commanders money line, and ended up hitting. It was a close game though. It honestly could have went either way. I'll admit, but to me, the Commanders are just the better team in this spot.
Yeah. I think you got to give it to the Commanders or to Jaden Daniels as rookie.
And they've also just been in so many close games this year.
Yeah, like this is regular for them.
Like, I want to know what's their record in one-score games this year. It's got to be well above 500.
Yeah, I think the only one that they lost was not the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they won.
Bears, they won a Hail Mary.
Yep.
Atlanta, they beat in overtime.
Yep. Eagles, they beat with 4 seconds left. Yeah, they might have went undefeated in one-score games for real, which is tough to do. I mean, I give all the credit in the world to what they're doing there. Dan Quinn, he's probably up there for Coach of the Year. You got
And
Rookie
honestly,
of the Year.
yeah, it's pretty. It's cool to see them actually be decent this year because I don't think I've ever seen a Redskins football team or Commanders team be any good in my entire life. So I know they were good back in the 80s and the 90s and such, but in the modern era, since I've been watching football, they've never been any good. I mean, when they had Robert Griffin Jr. or Robert Griffin III, that was like the best that I've ever seen them. And they made the playoffs.
Yeah. They made the playoffs one year, too, with Alex Smith as their quarterback.
That was before he broke his leg, right?
Yeah, I think that was the year before he broke his leg. Or the year that he broke his leg. Either way, I want to say that I can't remember what year it was, but they won a division. They won a Division 1 year in the 2010s. So it was one of the years. That's why we hadn't had a repeat winner. And well, except for the Cowboys won the division last year. I don't think we've had a repeat winner in 10 plus years at least. But good on Commanders. I know this franchise and fans have been through the ringer. 3 name changes, 2 name changes. The owner controversy with whatever the hell they had going on. All that shit. New owner. The last thing they need is a new stadium, and this is a brand new setup. The Commanders are in prime position.
Yeah, and it's one of those classic teams.
Yeah,
that has loyal fans, like of all ages. It feels like so.
Yeah. Redskins fans showing up. Can you say Redskins? That's the thing. Can you call them?
I think we're gonna get to the point where they just change it back.
Yeah,
to just Redskins because nobody is a fan. I feel like that was just one of the woke, crusades that they thought was gonna change. That is so important, and it's like now nobody gives a fuck.
If anything, it was showing
respect, right?
Respect, yeah. Like you're one of the marquee franchises.
Why don't they change NFL? The Chiefs then?
Yeah, the Chiefs.
If we're so offended by Native American, iconography or symbology or whatever, why don't we change the Chiefs logo and
where's all the
mascot?
angry Norse at for the Vikings? Huh?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah. What about all the pirates out there for the Buccaneers? Huh?
I mean, that's just funny. It's funny.
It's funny. All right.
It's ironic.
Yeah. Guardians. R.I.P. the Indians and Redskins. We miss you dearly. All right. The Vikings and their letdown go against the team of destiny and the Los Angeles Rams, which I think this is also a funny narrative too. Like, how come the LA Chargers didn't get the same kind of like?
Well, they were playing away. They were playing an away game.
I know, but they still also didn't get like because I felt like the Rams got the city is behind you shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
the Chargers just don't have a fan base. I feel like they just. I mean, have you ever met a Chargers fan? I know of one Chargers fan that I've ever met in my life. And I know. I mean, it's different because we're on the East Coast, so obviously we're not going to meet each other. But still,
I've met every other fan in the world, like multiple times.
Yeah, and there's just not. Fan. It's just they used to play in a fucking soccer stadium, so it's like, I just don't feel like they have a big enough following for the media to like push that narrative and like the sympathy, push that sympathy card of like, and like I said, they were also playing an away game. They were playing in Houston, so they probably spent all week in Houston instead of the Rams having to evacuate basically L.A. and having to fly to Arizona and use the Cardinals facilities and play on their field. And I feel like that was that might have been a motivational factor. I know we were texting during the game. I was like, man, the Rams are really about to pull this off.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like it's a combination of just the Rams having that motivation because of, having to evacuate their homes, but also the Vikings just absolutely choking away.
Yeah.
Namely Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold turned into an absolute fucking pumpkin in this game. He played like fucking dog shit. And I mean, if you watched like Kevin O'Connell's reactions, he was so pissed at him. You know,
he
I
was
don't know what
like wide open screenplays.
It was like he was back on the Jets and like
seeing ghosts.
Yeah, seeing ghosts. It was like he was seeing ghosts again. Yes, absolutely.
Had Belichick on the other side, which the Rams, they've got great linebacker play, which it's tough to say that for a lot of teams in the NFL, but Darnold looked lost, and like all the reputation and money that he had built up for the entirety of the season to go into free agency, like
he lost a lot of money in one game, 2 games really.
The last.
I mean, I guess you can give him a pass for Week 18 against the Lions.
Yeah,
but still, that's that's the biggest game of the regular season for both teams. And then
you're not in this game if you just win the week prior. You know what I'm saying? You're on a bye week, and this all gets hushed out.
But I mean, it's 2 choke jobs in a row, and I feel like we say it every year. It's another fraudulent season by Minnesota.
Yeah,
I know last year's kind of an outlier because Kirk Cousins got hurt halfway through, but they were still having a good season. But then you think about the year before that, they were like 13-4 or something like that.
Yeah, 13-4.
Choked again, and then I mean, you just go through the list and you think about year after year, they have a strong regular season, and you think, oh man, Minnesota's going to make a run this year in the playoffs, and then get beat by a team that they're favored to beat.
If you can get Kevin O'Connell a above average quarterback, he's gonna put up one of them seasons.
We'll see what they have with JJ McCarthy. So
yeah,
he's got a full off season to work with him and get him healthy and get him to help him develop and learn the system, learn the offense. So
and they got Daniel Jones.
And you've got. Well, I don't know if they're going to keep Daniel Jones. I mean, they might, but
I think he went there to learn from Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, just
Kevin O'Connell turning
a fresh set of scenery is really what Daniel Jones needed for sure.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson. I mean, the best receiver in the league in my eyes.
He wants traded.
I don't think he's going to be traded. They just paid him a shit ton of money, restructured his contract.
This is the NFL, bro. I don't know. Like, if he doesn't click right away with JJ, I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that's like, I want out. And he's going to end up like, I don't know.
In Cincinnati?
Yeah, somewhere stupid. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be some boy? They're trying to keep I mean, that's kind of a off topic, but I guess if Cincinnati can't keep T. Higgins, who knows? They might trade for Justin Jefferson. But that does nothing for their defense, or their O-line, which is their biggest issue. They're going to try and
score 50 a game. But could you imagine Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson just like the LSU days?
Yeah. Be nuts.
That would be nutty.
All right. I mean, that was a good game. The Rams dominated this game. Yeah. It was like from the get-go.
Rams are scary. I'm terrified of the Rams. I will say that. There's a storm brewing there, and it's coming to Philly. Hopefully it's not on fire. Hopefully they can put that out before they get there. Lord. All right, let's talk about this divisional round, these matchups that are coming this weekend, starting Saturday at 4:30 p.m. ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus. We have the Texans going to Kansas City to play the 1-seed Chiefs. They open up as 8-point favorites. Kansas City does. And the total is 41.5. 8 points, I feel like, is a lot. And I said it, I kind of previewed this earlier. Dude, I think this is going to be a tough game. I think that defense of the Texans is legit, but I cannot bet against, and I will not bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think having 2 weeks off might they might come out with a little bit of a slow start because they rested their starters in Week 18 and then obviously had a bye the first round of the playoffs. So I feel like and they're not a particularly high scoring team anyway. So I feel like that might affect the way they start this game. I still totally believe the Chiefs will win this game, but it could be more of a dogfight type game than anything else. I think 8 is too much. I'm definitely hammering the Texans +8 right here.
Yeah.
Because more, I think, what is it? The Chiefs or Patrick Mahomes, I can't remember the record. I can't remember his record, but plus more than 3 points or 3.5 points, his record against the spread is not very good. So it's going to be one of those last-minute field goal type games or last-minute touchdown type games or something like that.
Drive or something like that. Yeah, it'll be a Mahomes type game, and the refs will blow a whistle and they'll save his ass, and they'll put him in field goal position. And Buck Curl hit a fucking 49.
I mean, we could also be totally wrong, and Andy Reid has some type of sicko game plan to just come out and
just put it on him.
Yeah. So.
And we could be completely wrong, and the Texans could come out and just fucking lay the wood.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. I just don't see it happening. I think the Chiefs are at least going to make it to the AFC Championship, at least.
The Chiefs are undefeated at home this season, 8-0.
What are they, undefeated at home in the playoffs in the Mahomes era?
Yeah, I want to say.
I think so. I think they've only lost on the road.
Burrow.
Oh, yes, that's right. Burrow went to Cincinnati. Yep.
Burrow went to.
That might be the only loss, though.
That's the only loss Mahomes has at home, which is an insane stat. It's an insane stat.
That's right. You just don't want to go to Arrowhead.
Yeah. Take the Chiefs, not the cover. All right, 8 o'clock on Saturday night on Fox. We have the Washington Commanders going to Detroit to play the Detroit Lions. Detroit opens up as 9.5 points favorites. A lot of points projected in this game. The total is 55.5. Somebody said this is the Ghetto Bowl.
That's funny.
Detroit versus DC. That's funny. I think there will be a fuck ton of points in this game. Detroit covering 9.5 is a lot. It's a lot of points in a divisional round game. But it's the Lions, and they very well could.
I mean, I feel like they have the most prolific offense. I know the Bills and the Ravens score a lot of points as well, but the Lions have just been beaten or have just been putting up points like no fucking other this year.
David Montgomery's back.
Yep, Montgomery. They've just got so many weapons. They're so well coached. And I don't think, I know both defenses, I know the Lions defense is banged up, but they played very good against the Vikings. And I mean, who knows, it may have been a fluke, but it was against a divisional team for the division champion, division title. So I want to give a little bit of credit to the Lions defense. I feel like they probably have the edge on the Commanders defense. And not like you said, 9.5 points is a lot, especially for any game, but especially a defense or a divisional round game. I don't know if the Lions cover, but I think I think they win. I think the Commanders' luck kind of runs out here, and they just run into a superior team. That I feel like the Commanders are where the Lions were like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, right when they were like right on it. Yeah, Commanders are in a position to where their future is beyond bright. As long as Jaden Daniels stays healthy and he stays upright, and I think everything will work out. But the Lions are far and away the favorable team, and it's going to set up a fun future for what's coming ahead for the Lions. Yeah, I got the Lions here. All right, let's jump to Sunday. We've got 3 o'clock, NBC Peacock. The Los Angeles Rams go to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Philly is currently at 6.5 point favorite, and the total in this game is 43.5. I also think there's going to be points in this game. I think 43 is pretty low. Philadelphia 6.5 is tough. I keep stating it. I am terrified of the Rams. This is our worst matchup. Multiple good linebackers who can basically destroy the middle of the field, and an offense that is heavy. It is terrifying, but I'm gonna ride Philly, obviously, but they do scare me. They scare me a little bit.
Yes, I think you have to take this matchup very. Not that you take anybody in the playoffs lightly, but I think you got to take the Rams as a very serious opponent. They could very easily go in and wreak some havoc, especially on the both ends of the ball, special teams included. I think it's gonna. I think the Eagles have to come out and have a fast start. I feel like if they struggle in the first half, I think it's going to come down to a very, very tight game in the second half because, like I said, McVay and Sirianni both very good coaches, but I think McVay is a better schemer, in my opinion.
If we get behind,
and it comes down to Matthew Stafford and Jalen Hurts. I'm taking Matthew Stafford. I'm sorry, I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's a good QB. I don't think he's elite though.
He's not.
He's one of those guys
that Hall of Fame vet. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. He's going to sling it until his arm fucking falls off. And I feel like Jalen Hurts. I feel like he hesitates a lot. You know, I feel like he plays way too conservative sometimes. And I know, he has struggled with turnovers in the past. But I think at this point, you just got to let it rip. You got to trust your receivers. You got to trust Dallas Goedert. You got to lean on Saquon whenever you can.
Yeah.
And you've got to – I feel like you got to get A.J. Brown involved early. I mean, you can't have him sitting on the fucking sideline reading a book, I mean, that's not a good look as far as optics go. So I feel like they got to get him involved early, keep him in the game because they're going to need him to make some plays.
I mean, earlier this year, Saquon had a huge game against the Rams. I think obviously they're going to do whatever they can to slow him down. I think it's going to come down to how good of a game does Jalen Hurts have? Does he connect with A.J. Brown? Do they get out early? Do they score? If we're down going into half, like by a touchdown, we probably lose because like us playing catch up is not our game. We play from a lead. We're from a lead team. We can play catch up, but I don't think we can play catch up with a team that can go down and get points when they need it.
Yes, and the way that the Rams played last week, their offense started out freaking red hot. They just moved the ball right down the field on the Vikings. So
and the Vikings is supposed to be a good defense.
I think 6.5 is probably too much.
Yeah,
I feel like this will probably be like this feels like a 24-20 game.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
25, 26, 20 something, 23 maybe. So.
It'll be a grind. Grind it out game. I'll be sweating this one out. Hopefully we can pull it out. I got Birds. Go Birds.
Yeah, I think Philly will win.
Yeah.
I'll take Philly money line for sure.
Fair.
But I can see this game going either way. Either way.
All right, 6:30 that night. We got CBS and Paramount Plus, the Ravens traveling to Buffalo to play the Bills. Baltimore is a 1-point favorite. Total 51.5.
I got Baltimore as a 1-point favorite on my screen.
Baltimore's 1-point favorite. That's my fault. This is the matchup right here of the weekend. Right here, this is key.
This is the matchup of the year. Pretty much. This is
like winner take MVP, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a banger. The Bills are 8-0 at home. Ravens are 6-3 on the road. Ravens have been so hot as of late. Bills just as hot. Oh,
this is a tough one.
I feel like the Ravens have more, but it's just like there's this little devil on my shoulder. It's like, but would you bet against Josh Allen in a moment? You know what I'm saying? Would you bet against Lamar Jackson? It's like, who are you going to bet against here?
Man,
It's
I
the
don't
hard
know.
part.
I think I think you also have to think about coaching.
Yeah.
Are you going to take McDermott or are you going to take Harbaugh?
Harbaugh, yeah.
Think about defense. I'll give the edge to the Ravens defense.
Yep.
I know the Bills held the Broncos to 7 points, but
it's a rookie quarterback. You can scheme some shit up. You know what I'm saying?
And like I said, if the Broncos receivers could catch a few more balls, they probably would have scored, 17 points in the game.
The Ravens, undoubtedly, I feel like, are the better team, like overall roster wise, like position by position. The closest matchup between them is quarterback. Like,
yeah,
wide receiver, what you got? I mean, I guess you could probably give wide receiver room to the Bills with Khalil Shakur, Amari Cooper,
Keon Coleman, Dalton Knox,
yeah,
or Dalton,
Kincaid,
and then Dawson Knox.
But
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a push.
That's a push there.
Really.
Running back, you're going to give to Derrick Henry, even though James Cook has had a fantastic year.
Great. He's good, but he's not Derrick Henry level.
He's not Derrick Henry.
And I feel like their offenses, like stylistically, are totally different.
Yeah. This is going to be a fun game to watch, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it doesn't let us down. I hope it's great.
This is a must watch. No, I think it's going to be a close game through and through.
Yeah.
It's just it's a very high pressure moment. You're going to get the best of the best out of every single one of these players, I feel like. And I don't know, man. I feel like if it comes down to a kick, I don't have faith in Justin Tucker anymore, man.
No, I don't blame you.
I mean, it might. If it comes down to a kick, I might give it to the Bills, but just because of how bad Justin Tucker has been this year. I'm going to go. I think the biggest factor is probably home field advantage and weather. I don't know what the weather looks like in Buffalo on the 19th.
It's going to be a cold front. It's going to be cold.
It's going to be very cold. I know the Ravens are on the East Coast in Baltimore, but I feel like they're not used to that Buffalo cold type weather.
Buffalo, that lake effect cold.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. Fun. I'm inclined to take the Ravens just because of everything we've said. Like, I think on paper, and then like you look at every different aspect of a team composition, I feel like the Ravens have a slight edge. But the Bills, with being undefeated at home, they play very well. Behind that crowd, in front of that crowd, I guess should say. Fuck it, give me Bills +1. Bills +1.
That's what I was going. I'm going to go Bills +1. I was just hoping you'd stick with Baltimore, but I'm taking Buffalo +1. This is going to be a great game. Definitely must-watch football. Divisional round. We got some matchups. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of good football to talk about. A good discussion for us to have this coming week. We hope that everybody enjoys these football games as we're coming towards the end of our football season. And
I know football's almost over. I'm sad.
We got
national championship.
1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 6, 7, 8 football games left this season in total.
Yeah.
Watch them all. Watch them all. We got one more college football game left. Monday, January 20th, MLK Day. We have the national championship. Ohio State, Notre Dame, and the Mercedes-Benz Bowl playoff football in Atlanta. What's that like? They wouldn't know. Shout out the Falcons. Is that too soon? Too soon?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Ohio State opens up as 8-point favorite. 8 points is a
just for that, I hope Ohio State fucking loses. Fuck you.
I knew that was coming, but I feel very confident in this game, and I think the confidence scares me a lot. Like, it's just it seems so one-sided.
I just think Ohio State is so much better than Notre Dame, and I know Notre Dame's beat Georgia and they beat Penn State, but Ohio State is the most talented team in the nation. They had everybody come back just so they could do this. And it's like they lost that game to Michigan, and it turned a switch in everybody's head. And from here on out, they've been at 42 points, 41 points, 28 points against Texas, who has one of the best defenses in the nation. I mean, they're a team on a mission. Ryan Day, unless he has one of those moments where he just freezes up, I feel like they got this one in the bag. Of course, being a 19-point favorite, they did lose this year. So,
yeah.
But I feel like they had gotten complacent, and that, like I said, lit a fire under them losing that game, that Michigan game.
I think this is one of our better defenses of I don't know, you can say past 10 years. This defense is a phenomenal defense. That stop last week against Texas was, so memorable, and but this is something that they've done multiple times this season. Like there's 4 or 5 games now where they're like teams are inside the 10 to score, and we make a red zone stop or a goal line stop, and it's like this just shows the toughness of this team. So going back to what Lou Holtz has said, and I'm sure this is the poster board material, some old man screams at clouds shit.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State's going to come in and they could potentially hurt the feelings of Notre Dame. It could be just like any other time Notre Dame's in a big game, national championship game or whatever.
But I will say, I will give Notre Dame credit. I do feel like this is a better Notre Dame team than they usually have in in these big games. I feel like this is a better overall team. I like the vibe that I get just watching that Penn State game. I didn't get to watch a lot of the Georgia game, but they handled business, against Georgia, and then Penn State came down to the wire, but they handled business there and did enough to win. And I think it's all going to come down to, can Riley Leonard find a way to move the ball, whether that's attacking on the ground with his feet or finding open receivers. I think it's all going to come down to Riley Leonard. Can he keep it close? And because I feel like Marcus Freeman is one of the better coaches in the nation. I almost like him over Ryan Day, just because I feel like Ohio State, you get so much talent. Like you have so many resources, and Notre Dame does too. Don't get me wrong; they have a lot of money, a lot of resources as well. But I feel like it's easier to recruit at Ohio State than it is at Notre Dame, and I feel like Marcus Freeman. I don't know. I just like Marcus Freeman.
Yeah. I think Marcus Freeman's a great coach.
Yeah, I like him as a coach. I don't like Notre Dame as a program just because I think we talked about this after they beat Penn State. I just think it's weird that they don't have to play in a conference but they're still eligible for the playoffs. So I think that's a different discussion. But yeah, I'm taking OSU. I think Ohio State wins by at least 10. I think it's at least 10, if not 14.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. We need it. Save it. This is Ryan. I said it going into the playoffs. If we make the playoff, then Ryan Day has to win the national title to keep his job.
No, they're not. Even if they lose this game, he's not getting fired.
Well, now in retrospect, all right, that was a little outlandish me saying that. But at the time being, after losing to Michigan and we're on the outside looking in for everything, you know what I'm saying? It was like, if we get in, you better win the national title or you're going to be fucked, bro. But the fact is, we've beaten 7 of the top 10 ranked teams this year.
Yes. I mean, like I said it at the beginning of the season. I think week 1, I said Ohio State is the most talented team. And I mean, obviously, that's no, like hot take or revelation on my part. I mean, every sports commentator in the world was saying that. Yeah. But it just felt like this is the team of destiny, Ohio State. Yeah. This is the year that they come back and reclaim the title.
Yeah. Good to have it back. We can be nice to win the first ever 4-team playoff and the first ever 8-team playoff. That'd be cool.
You mean 12-team?
Whatever. 8-team, 12-team. First ever fucking whatever playoff you want to throw at us.
Expanded playoff format. Yeah. There we go.
We'll take them both 10 years apart from each other. Lord. How about them Cats? I seen they won a big game against Texas A&M and Mississippi State back to back, and they beat
Yeah,
Florida. Lost to Georgia.
yeah, they
What the
came.
fuck
They
happened
can't.
there?
I don't know. That's an issue. Kind of inconsistent right now. I mean, I love this team either way, through and through. I support Mark Pope. I believe in what he's doing. I believe in his system. And I mean, if you've listened to what he's been saying even before the season started and throughout, he's kept the messaging the same. And we're not going to win every game. We know we're not going to win every game. We're not going into every game. We don't expect to win every game, but we're going to keep our foot on the gas. We're going to keep coming no matter what. And I feel like this team has always done that. There's never been a point in any game so far that I've been like, man, these guys have just given up. They're not fighting to try to get back in this game if they were losing. And it's weird because we've lost to Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia, three teams that you don't, traditionally think about being like a basketball powerhouse or school. But you look at all the teams we've beat what, 6 top 10, top 15 opponents now. So
Yeah.
it's kind of weird, wonky, but I mean, that's the SEC is so strong this year. We've got so many ranked teams in the SEC, and it's just going to be a dogfight night in and night out. I feel like, but I like our chances. I like the way that we're developing. I like our chemistry. I like our roster. I think they do get a little bit 3 happy sometimes. I would like them to. It's fine if you're hitting them. If you're hitting them, fucking keep jacking it up. But there comes a point where you have to make that conscious decision. All right, maybe don't shoot for the 4th 3 in a row. Maybe try to get a better look at the basket. Get a little bit closer, try to drive it in, draw a foul, whatever. Work inside out. But I'm all in, all the way in.
You got some big matchups coming up. What you got? Alabama, Tennessee. Still got to face Auburn. You got some big matchups coming up, dude. SEC tough this year, dude.
As long as we drum the fuck out of Arkansas, I don't really care. Yeah. I mean, I do care, but that's the one I've got on circled is fucking. If we beat Arkansas by 20, that would be awesome.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Lord. Go Cats. Go Birds.
Yes, sir.
Go Buckeyes. Guys, a hell of a year. Be crazy if Ohio State and Philly won it the same year. I'd probably be able to die happy.
Yeah. I wish I could be that lucky.
And Cats win the title. Be a crazy year.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Lord.
You want to talk about this NBA stuff, or you just want to wait till? I feel like we just save it until we got a little bit less to talk about because we filled the whole hour with the football stuff.
We did good. That was a good episode. Lord, we'll save the NBA discussion when we're running out of football and shit.
I'll just say a little quick quip. I just feel like the NBA is dying right before our eyes. It's not the same as it was even 5 or 6 years ago. The product is just gone so far downhill. It's degraded. Nobody's really interested in it anymore. It feels like the players don't even want to play. You've got all these superstars that set out multiple games, and it's just not even fun to watch anymore. So
it's a dog water organization. I don't even know if we could propose a model worth saving it.
I don't know what they do. They lost Christmas Day. The NFL took that away from them. That's the one thing that they did have. And I guess they kind of do own the summer a little bit with the playoffs. But
take away the 3-point shot. Just make everything.
No, make a 4-point shot. Make it like a if you hit it half quarters, you get 4 points or whatever. I don't know. Give everybody 7 fouls.
Make the mid-range 3 points. Make the 3-pointer 2 points and make a dunk worth 5.
I was going to say make dunks worth 4 points or something.
Yeah, something crazy. I'd watch if everybody.
Everybody trying to dunk on everybody's head.
A game-winning dunk for 4 points. That'd be crazy. All right. let's wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you. Thanks for stopping in, giving us your ears, your eyes. We hope that you are having a good 2025. And we hope that you guys continue. Enjoy these last 8 football games that we get. Do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe. And as always, we love you guys.
Peace.